The local Living Festival is designed to promote and demonstrate sustainable environmental practices in the North Country of New York State. These sustainable practices make sense for many residents because of high heating costs, rudimentary infrastructure, and the resources at hand. One of the presenters was Mr. Rob Roy of the Earthwood Building School. Rob and his wife Jackie specialize in cordwood masonry. Cordwood building dates back over 1,000 years to southeastern Europe. Today, cordwood is still an ecologically and economically sound construction method. What are the advantages of cordwood masonry as opposed to 21st century techniques?
Well, I like to talk of the 5 E advantages of the cordwood masonry home, and the first is ease of construction. You don't have to be a highly skilled builder. Beavers actually build a similar cordwood kind of thing. We've seen grandmothers and children build cordwood buildings as well. So aesthetics, if you spell aesthetics with an E, which is legitimate, you get some beautifully textured walls like this, showing almost like stone. It has the warmth of wood, but the pleasing texture of stone masonry. Let's see if I remember all 5. Energy efficiency. This chart here shows that the cordwood masonry wall is insulated, so the log ends go all the way through the wall, but the mortar joint has an insulated space between the inner and outer mortar joint, so you're storing energy in the inner mortar joint, the thermal mass of the inner mortar joint, and the house stays a nice steady temperature. It's environmentally sound, that's another E. It takes advantage of wood which is unsuitable for use for other purposes. Dead wood, beetle-killed wood, stuff that's maybe hollow, you can't take it to the sawmill, or it's curved, you can cut it into short log ends. And the final advantage would be economics. It's a very cheap way to build, particularly if you've got wood as an indigenous resource on your property.
What about building codes?
There aren't special building codes for cordwood, but we have a document called Cordwood in the Code, a building permit guide, and it answers the kinds of questions that code enforcement officers have, such as R value, insulation value of the cordwood, flame spread. They're worried about how is flame going to spread through the wall, these sorts of things. So this document's backed by the design expertise of physical engineers, including the documentation of tests in here. It won't answer every single question that the code enforcement officer has, but it'll answer 90% of them. And it shows that you've done your homework. So a lot of people use this to help smooth their cordwood project through the building process.
Is there any focus on maximizing energy efficiency through geographic orientation?
In the northern climates where heating is a more important energy consideration, you want to orientate your house south or a little bit west of south. Either one is fine. So this house here is exactly north and south. This is the south side to the north, so the sun rises in the east. It sends low, in the wintertime, the low rays of the sun penetrate the east-facing windows. In the middle of the day, they penetrate into the sunroom on the south side. And then finally, in late afternoon, it penetrates 2 large windows on the west side. You get stronger insolation, that solar gain, in the west than you do in the east, because in the east your atmosphere is more heavy with moisture, and so less solar energy comes in. But by the afternoon comes around, the air has dried out, and you get quite a bit more solar gain on the west side. So we orientate them south or a little bit west of south.
What is the cost of building a typical cordwood house?
Everybody's different. The size of the house, whether or not people are thrifty or spendthrifts. I think the materials cost, and not charging yourself for your own labor, but materials costs would range from, we built Stoneview, this one for about $16 a square foot. That's on the low side, but materials cost, you ought to be able to build a cordwood house for $40 a square foot. That's not factoring your labor into it, that's just the materials cost.
To learn more about cordwood masonry, visit Rob and Jackie at cordwoodmasonry.com.